Hey, Oli, this week was a serious man birthday. You know, a man turned 80 this week. Yes. Take a little two-step now. Yes.
Tonight we going and have some fun. I just feel it to party the way we used to when we was young. Just put on something sexy so you'll be free to move around. Make sure the children okay. We ain't coming home until morning come.
Well, after the curfew, right?
Tonight the black man feeling to party.
Yes.
Tonight the black man feeling to jam, 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 jam.
I wonder if you know what jam mean now, boy.
It's a boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let we do a little
Hey, welcome to episode 69 of the Corey Shop. Hey, that's a good number. Episode 69 of the Corey Shop podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Thank you for anybody who tuned in for the first time. Enjoy it. You know where to find me, right? Anyway is listen to podcasts. Anyway is get your radio online. And on YouTube, you can come and view, right? But it's a big man birthday. We had to take him in. Lively up your week, man.
Live with worries by the doorsteps.
Yes, if you know it, sing.
For that tonight we have no time. We go deal with that tomorrow. Tonight we going out online. We go do a little soca. We go do a little grind. We go do a little back. And show them youngsters how to wine. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam, 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 jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let me do a little oi.
Hey, if you're in Trinidad, we had a long weekend, you know we like to come off the long weekend kind of lazy. This song is to wake you up, we have a long week now, right? We had a long weekend, we have a long week. We gotta get active. We gotta get active and get productive. Let me make this long week count, right?
Remember when we was courting?
Yes.
Before we had this family.
Sing. Anyway, Mouttxt fighting.
Two people short of it, there was we. But since we start having children,
yes, we stop going down in Sealots.
So tonight, my darling, we turning back the hands of the clock. Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam, 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 jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your man. And let me do a little oi.
Listen, if you're listening to this long enough, you're supposed to know how I feel about Stalin by now, right? Stalin is one of the great storyteller in every one of his songs. Lyrics. When you're talking about lyricists and calypso, Stalin is one of the greatest they have. At 80, we always come in here and celebrate when the greats pass away, you know. So you see, while they're alive, we had to give them their flowers too and celebrate them while they're here. multiple Calypso Monarch winner, one of the greatest of all time. If you want to know lyrics down to the end here.
When my fans and them tell me,
yes,
the fine make a going fine,
I just simply have to tell them,
use the driving force behind,
use the one that give me courage,
use the one that
make me great.
So tonight, my darling, we going out and celebrate.
At least until 10.
Tonight the black man feeling the party. Tonight the black man feeling the jam. Tonight the black man just feels the boogie woogie. Come on, hold on to your heart. And let me,
well, listen, we always starting off this episode. We'll get back to Stalin, right? We have a few Stalin to play before we leave here. It's always a joy for me to play Stalin on the great one. Happy birthday to him, 80 years old. You know, some time ago, he was diagnosed and they said he got a stroke and it was looking like we'd never see him perform and them things again. So if you had seen Stalin perform and them things, consider yourself blessed and consider yourself lucky. And I see him perform in a review tent before, like back in the day. But I also had the honor and pleasure and privilege. Before I would get into Mouttxt and Swizzle, because I really come here to talk about Mouttxt and Swizzle for an hour. But before I get into that, let me talk about Stalin and my experience with Stalin. I had the unique and honorable pleasure of playing some music for Stalin one time. We were in Naparima Bowl, my little Parang side, right? My father, and my guy, a bassman by the name of Nolly Me Too, pan man by the name of Darren Ellis. You're supposed to know Darren as Ghostman on Instagram. Who else was with us, boy? A fellow named Atiba. Great, I think Atiba played keyboard with us that time, and some youth men from Prez. He came with the choir, with presentation choir at the time to sing Caribbean Man. I will play Caribbean Man before I go here too. And I think that was the only song he sang. If I remember right, that was the only song. And you had to understand how I look up to these men. I see these men as immortal. And I can't remember what has happened with his transport or something, and he gets stick up. And then they tell me which part my car was parked. Somebody tell me, well, boy, you got to pick him up in your car. I was the only car backstage that could leave. So I had to go and pick up Stalin. Now, home by him, he living right in San Fernando, right? Let me get the man address and thing, in the middle groupie or the whole thing, right? So I went and pick him up and stuff and bring him back to the bowl, and I get a chance to talk to him. I mean, real fanning out, boy. Like, it's like if a youth now see Little Baby or one of them, that's how I was acting. I was like, hey, Bondem was a real great song. I didn't know what to say. And then I say, hey, Bondem was a real... And he's just like, yeah, that was a big one. He must be fed up here that, and he must be saying, man, what is man bothering me for? This man will leave me alone. But I bring him in the bowl and thing, and we didn't really get a chance to rehearse with him, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, we Caribbean Man, we know this song and everything, the band, we could play this song. So one thing about him was he was a little worried because we didn't have any brass in the band. And if you know Caribbean Man, it have a brass line that is bringing the verse. Pa-pa-da-pa, they come with a federation. I'll play just now. And he was worried about not being able to hear that brass. But we know Darren like me, who picking up and trying to fight up with chord as the wrong chord champion of the world. But Darren a perfect pitch. When Darren playing a song, he on point. And Darren know Calypso too. Darren, as much as I know Calypso, Darren know it. So we tell him the pan man go play the lead lines. Don't worry about it. The pan man will play the brass lines, sorry. And when I think we went on the stage a little early and get to run through the song. And when Darren hit it, he turned and he said, all right, I go work. You know what I mean? And he wasn't looking very excited about the performance. He wasn't looking, you know what I mean? He was very low-key, if I could say that. But entertainers is entertainers. And when them lights come on in Naparima Bowl and that man comes to sing that song, that man had them children and their parents and thing rocking in that bowl, boy. And that was just a special moment for me. Always had to listen to my stories every now and again, right? It was a special moment for me. One of the highlights of my life, easily. But what was nice about it is after he sing it and sing, and of course the children singing It's one race, the Caribbean man, we're from the same place, the Caribbean man. And just hearing the children sing that with him, and I mean, at that time might have been, I talking about at least 5-6 years ago, probably more than that. So he would have already been in his 70s. So to hear little children from Prez singing that, they had to be 13, 14, 15. It's such a nice thing to see those two generations come together and sing it. But what stood out for me about Stalin, and it told me something about the person he was. Remember that we's not, let me just say for myself, I'm a professional musician. Our band doesn't play music for a living. We ain't no professionals. But after we played the song, as worried as he was in the beginning about how it would be and how it would work and stuff, where I was standing, I was kind of, if you know the bowler, if you ever do performances, we're not on the stage with him. We kind of off to the side. You know, theater performances be. Sometimes just have the band a little bit where the crowd can really see the band. The focus was on the choir and on Stalin, of course. And we off to the side, kind of in the dark. And we had a long bit after he came off stage just playing out the song, because now he had to play out the song for the children to take a bow and Stalin to come back and bow and everybody to do voter thanks. And this. It was a long time that we keep just jamming that chorus. But as a musician, you're enjoying that part and you're jamming down that chorus there. And I'd feel somebody presence next to me, rocking right there while I rocking, playing my quattro, the person. And well, by the time we done and we started come off stage, I realized it was Stalin. And the reason he had stayed right there was just to shake everybody's hand when they was coming off the stage. He just shake everybody's hand and he's like, nice one, thanks so much. And that might mean a whole lot to him, or it might mean a whole lot to you listening to this, but you have to understand what that means to me as a musician, a kind of musician. Just for somebody like that to acknowledge that who hears the best musicians play, he would hear the best, you know what I mean? But he was just there to say, you know, thanks so much, fellas. I like it. I appreciate it. It come out nice. I hear my lead lines. I hear everything I want to hear. Thanks so much. And boy, it was just a special moment for me. So I had to take some time to celebrate the great one birthday, 80 years old last week. And keep batting on, man. Batting on. Whether you perform again or not, we happy to have you, and we happy to have had you. And we just want to say, as much as you stand up there to say thanks, I want to take this time to say thanks to you for your contribution to our culture and our music. You know what I mean? Salute to Black Stalin, great one. And maybe all you want to take in the Caribbean man one time? Since we're going to talk about two other Caribbean greats in Mouttxt and and Swizzle is one of the most entertaining things I see. You could tell I bored, right? Because I follow that fight from the beginning to end, and I pay a whole lot of attention to the lead up to it. I watched the whole fight. I was excited about it. But taking this one from Stalin before we get into that.
You try with a federation, the whole thing end in confusion. CARICOM and then CARIFTA, but somehow a spelling disaster. Mr. West Indian politician, I mean you went to big institution, and how come you can't unite 7 million? When a West Indian unity, I know it's very easy. If you only rap to your people and tell them like me, them is one race, the Caribbean man, from the same place, the Caribbean man, that make the same trip, the Caribbean man, on the same ship, the Caribbean man. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we women and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. You say that the Federation was imported quite from England, and you're going and form a CARIFTA with a true West Indian flavor. But since CARIFTA started running, morning, noon and night all are hearing, it's just money speech, them Prime Minister giving.
Yes.
But I say no set of money, not formal unity. First of all, your people need their identity like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man. CARICOM is wasting time.
Yes.
The whole Caribbean gone blind. If we don't know from where we come in, then we can't plan where we go in. That's why some want to be communists, brother, some want to be socialists, and one set a religion to add to the foolishness. Look, a man who don't know his history can't form no unity. How could a man who don't know his roots form his own ideology like one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So we must push one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for we woman and we children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.
I tell you, he's a lyricist, you know, I can't cut him off.
The Federation done dead, and Carifta going to bed. But the cult of the Rastafarian spreading through the Caribbean. It have Rastas now in Grenada, it have Rastas now in St. Lucia. But to run Carifta, yes, you getting pressure.
Yeah.
If the Rastafari movement spreading and Carifta dying slow, then it's something them Rastas don't, that them politicians don't know. That they one race, from the same place, that make the same trip, on the same ship. So they pushing one common intention, it's for a better life in the region, for the woman,
Yes.
and their children. That must be the ambition of the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man, the Caribbean man.
So let me talk about two great Caribbean men now. Super lightweight boat. It be, you know, feather. Super a matter of fact, let me get some things out to do, right? It would be quite irresponsible to say anything like Cripple Olympics or anything like the cripple weight champion of the world. That would be irresponsible, right? So I'm not going to say anything like that. I'm just going to say the super lightweight championship of the world was fought in Sealots on Sunday night. If you wasn't following this, I don't know where you are. Let me get you some things to do, right? So that's this podcast going to start to have homework, you know. If you don't know who these people are, you need to go, you know, you spell Mouttxt, like the name Mouttxt, put an X where the E is supposed to be, and go on Instagram and look for Mouttxt. That is number one. Also go on Instagram and look for Swizzle Stick. Where's Swizzle Stick Instagram? But I find Swizzle Instagram for you because all you have to get up to date with what is happening in these streets. Roy.swizzlestickman. Go and find that on Instagram and enjoy your life. Thank me later. As I say, we come off a short week, you know. So you need some to rally you through this, what would be a normal week, but we Trinities go call it a long week now. So find Roy.swizzlestickman. You need to follow Trinidad Killer. You need to follow MYOB Entertainment. When you look for MYOB, they have about 25 pages. Find the one that they're using now, right? But all on and Notorious Hayes. If you want to find this, look for Notorious Hayes on YouTube. Once you find Notorious Hayes on YouTube, you'll see all the rounds of the fight, right? Now, the last Sealots fight I saw, the men had a ring. You remember that I was talking about them making it kind of official. But I say, that forgetting that we have a curfew, that we still have social distancing and things to do, and with Delta variant flying around the place, we might want to not, put ourselves at greater risk. To be honest with you, I really wanted to be down in Sealots, and I wanted to go and see that fight. Listen, the fight It's the most ghetto fighting thing you've ever seen. But I wanted to go. I wanted to see it in person. And for some strange reason, I want to put my money on Mouttxt because somehow Swizzle stick. I want to use the term able-bodied, right? But I feel like I'm using the term a little bit loosely. Swizzle stick able-bodied, right? Let me say it like that. But he light. He must be about 90 pounds, right? And Mouttxt, if Swizzle is 90, Mouttxt is about... All right, let me put it this way. When it comes to weight, Swizzle is about... Stalin is 80, Swizzle is 80 pounds. This is episode 69, Mouttxt is about 69 pounds. So you understand who we dealing with, we're talking. Now, Mouttxt have something... I forget the name he said it was, right? But apparently his body has a lot of arthritis. It's riddled with arthritis. So you have all kind of issues where... As he said on an interview on a podcast that I had seen... I want to say it's the randomish podcast, right? I don't want to give the wrong people credit. But he said that that's why his muscles and his joints and his bones stiff. So Mouttxt have a lot of stiffness going on. But on the lead up to this, you were seeing him doing the little boxing and things. So I was a little surprised that Mouttxt could actually swing them hands and things. That was a little shocking to me. But somehow I telling myself, boy, Mouttxt go and knock out Swizzle Stick. Well, the lead up to the fight, number one, they had no ring. It was just some mats on the ground. Like, you know where them mats is by an Amazon to exercise? It looked like they just put together some yoga mats on the ground. Sealots went low budget on this one. For what would have been the biggest fight in all the fights that they had so far, the first real celebrity fight, I find they went a little low budget. But I figure between Mouttxt and Swizzle Stick, they might not be able to climb in that ring and climb back out now. So it might be the best thing to leave them down on the ground. You know what I mean? Let them fall shallow. Don't let them fall nowhere. It could fall deep. Like a big man fall out the ring the other day, you know. So, and I suppose you had to move under low too, because now the boxing get to be. At first, it was a little bit under the radar, but as people like me start to know it, I know we're near these things. So if it reaching me, it means it reaching mainstream, and then you have a problem, right? Because Gary Griffith. Or McDonald Jacob. Some one of them police coming for you. Whoever is still a policeman go reach down there eventually. So I guess they keep it low. It wasn't in as big a place as the last fight I see. And they put the yoga mats on the ground and thing, and they put these men to fight on yoga mats. Now you have to understand, right? That both of these men come out in Jordans. Like 3/4. Mouttxt was wearing some kind of 3/4, like a cargo pants or a jeans. I don't know what that was. It wasn't athletic wear, right? Like that. It have no kind of fairness in this, because Swizzle Stick looked like he had on 10-ounce gloves, and Mouttxt looked like he had on them gloves. You know, when women going to lift weights, they put on some gloves so they don't damage their hand and get corn in their hand and think that is the kind of glove Mouttxt put. I don't know if nobody tell Mouttxt was boxing. Like, he come to train, because Mouttxt gloves like one of them bike riders wear. No kind of nothing. No weight behind it. You're done light already. The man you're fighting heavier than you. And you come with these little light gloves. Okay. No headgear was involved. But I suppose how much head damage you could do to people like Mouttxt and Swizzle Stick, you know what I mean? They're much more head damage, like a concussion can't do them a whole lot again, you know what I mean? Them past that stage. So, and I guess if you come off the mat, you're out the ring, and they had to put you back in the ring. Now, time for fight to start. Of course, all the local, what you want to call it now, like celebrities, what you call Instagram celebrities or social media celebrities, influencers, you could say that. So the NCW was there, comedian NCW. I don't know if it's White Zessa or London Zessa. Jordan was there. Notorious Hayes, of course, with his YouTube page. He was there carrying the fight. Swapton was in the mix. Swappy want to fight somebody. Yeah? I want somebody to whisper a word in Swappy. Yeah? Swappy, you go and sing your doi and sing nan. Don't go and fight nobody in Sealots, Swappy. I know that's your home and that's where you're from and sing, but a matter of fact, if all these guards is away, how come Swappy here? Swappy and no performances abroad. Somebody book Swappy now. Anybody who listening to this in New York or wherever, Miami Carnival is not like next week. Somebody book Swappy, please, and let Swappy go over there so he could enjoy his carnival and thing. Don't fight nobody. Look how fit you get and thing. But if Swappy was to fight somebody, as men who wasn't no big fit man and get fit, I want to see Swappy fight Benjai. Yeah, I'm putting it out there because Benjai turned out to be a fit man. And so if there are a celebrity thing, two of them is immense to fight. I'm just putting that in the atmosphere. But yoga mats out, men come and say, and as I tell you, it's not official nothing. No. A man just there to tell them touch gloves and tell them cough out. That is basically it. And this time it had no announcer with no mic and thing in the ring. It was just a man who, well, I guess separating them and thing. What I find was impressive about the fight, when you take it in, is that most of the smart money was on Swizzle Stick, right? Because as I say, Swizzle Stick, let me not say able-bodied. Swizzle Stick don't have that amount of arthritis. You know what I mean? So he could swing a little more free and all them things, but I ain't no faith in him to be able to beat nobody. And he looking like he can't take a punch neither. And he come out swinging. But one thing I like is Mouttxt never stop advancing. One thing I had to rate Mouttxt for, Mouttxt is fit. Because the thing went 6 rounds. Now, although I had to go and expect that a boxing round is 3 minutes and thing, these rounds have uneven length and so on. The round stops when one of them need a break, right? Mostly Mouttxt. And whenever they need a break, they just stop. But Mouttxt was fit. It had one point in time I see Swizzle Stick bend down and put 2 hands on his knee. Like how I look when I played football. It's like, what is going on with this man? This man can't go the distance. And I don't know, the bouts, they don't ever tell you, well, it have 6 rounds, and after the 6th round, we make a decision, and the judges are, this is Get Olympics. It's nothing like that. This it's just a fight and cuff out, and whenever it's done, it's done. And it went like that. Mouttxt, because of the arthritis, he not much reach. That was what was mashing him up. If he had a little more reach, he'd have mashed up Swizzle, because Swizzle threw in some big, wild punches. But what real impressive about Mouttxt, and I couldn't possibly expect somebody who have so much issues with their joints and things. How is this man evading so much punches? You need to watch this and all. You need to go and see this. Like, look at it on YouTube and forget everything else around it, right? Because I know all you don't want to go and watch this Get Olympics, right? But forget everything else that happened and pay close attention to how good Mouttxt is at dodging punches. Salute to him. This man is basically doing the Roy Jones. Remember Roy Jones? Now, Roy Jones didn't have arthritis, right? But Roy Jones used to have a kind of low guard. He used to get his face and then he's kind of back outside and come back in. And Mouttxt was doing that. So that whole thing was real impressive. But I mean, in the end, it wasn't meant to be. Because Mouttxt, he was aggressive. Like, put it like that, right? If you know him and you ever see him in action before, he's an aggressive looking kind of guy. He always looking very serious and talking aggressive and thing. And his fight was just as aggressive as that. He keep walking down we're insensitive to say crip walk, right? But he keep walking down Mr. Killer. I saying Mr. Killer now, walking down Swizzle. And Swizzle is backing away, turning around. You see Swizzle making full, my name is Swizzle, so the man making full, like what is called like, in ballet, like a pirouette. I don't know what it's called that, but he making whatever that is. That's what he do. And basically running from Mouttxt the whole fight. And not just running, but also running and pushing him. And the man balanced in so 100%, right? Which I expected. So Mouttxt had somebody there to pick him up every time he fall, because he was falling on a regular basis. I don't think he get punch out or he get knockouts, as people saying, at any point during the fight. He just get a real push and he was losing balance. And at one time he had to like physically put his knee back in place, like it come out. And he just popped that back in and he went again. I gave him a lot of respect. And that one particular wrong way he run down. Because when Swizzle started to get tired, I tell you, Swizzle bend down with 2 hands on his knees. Man under pressure. But it's one of the more entertaining things I've seen. And I'm glad for it. I'm not so sure about the social distancing part, as I say, and the not wearing the mask. I'm going to assume everybody there was vaccinated and all that to make it good. But other than that, it's a good event. I find they need more of it. I see Boxer Pot say he wanted to get involved. If that's the case, like when you think about where they find Mike Tyson, or you hear the backstories of people like Evander Holyfield or Muhammad Ali, these fellas didn't grow up, born on no socks and grew up in carpet. These fellas was discovered from street fighting. So if they're having some kind of organized version of street fighting, I like it. I don't know how everybody feeling about it and thing, but I'm glad it happened. It's entertaining as hell. Thank God for this. If it's one upside of COVID, let me put it like that, right? Is that everything has happened in an online space that me and you have access to. Because think about it, before COVID and everything getting so popular online, and it becomes such a popular thing to just stay home and watch what happened on YouTube or anything like that. We would have never see that. That would have happened in Sealots. It'll be under the radar. Nobody would have never know. And it'll be dependent on 1 or 2 people who just show little clips on Instagram. And maybe they should have stick to that too, because I hear in the end, police come and shots fire and all kind of thing. And they report that a couple of people get detained for questioning related to Because in these times, that would not be legal. Let me be clear. That a gathering like that, probably not legal. Even under the new changes and restrictions that the doc come and read. Only listen to the doc about the new restrictions and things. Even under those new restrictions, that event would still be illegal. And that's amongst a gathering and non-mask wearing. Police was bound to come. Have we a police? I was going to say Gary was going to come. I think he's a normal civilian. Well, anyway, let me not say that, because I don't want no legal letter. McDonald Jacob, he would have come through. One of them would have come through, whoever in charge now. And so said, so done. Some shots fired and all that, and in the end, they wrap it up. And it's such a strange thing. Not that I want anybody involved to get arrested or anything, but we live in a strange society where everybody watching this event, it going around on YouTube, every WhatsApp group was sending around that fight real time. A bunch of very popular Instagram pages was coming up showing clips of the fight and the commentary and all that. People, I call in some of the names of people here who's Instagram influencers, who's soca artists. The two fighters themselves who were there, everybody know who's Mouttxt, everybody know who's Swizzle. Like, you know where to find them. But yet still the police come and detain two people for questioning. Was Anil Roberts right all along where one thing on video, you can't do nothing? Is that the society we live in? Because police didn't even need to show up. Them could have just wait and pass and Shoguna's taxi stand and pick up Swizzle and then pass for Swappy. If they wanted to arrest people in association with this thing, everybody was right there on video. NCW was showing video from his own phone of himself in the event. Gratefully, he was one of the people wearing the masks. Salute to him. But yeah, it's like, I don't know if we have any intention to lock them up. Again, I don't want them to get arrested or nothing like that, but it's a strange thing police is doing. It's a real kind of fake hustle when you think about it. But salute to them. Fight went on. I think they're going to have a rematch because the first thing I heard was when they say a draw. But I see a little video of Mouttxt walking off in the end. I don't think Mouttxt should go back in that fight, honestly. Honestly, I salute him. Because that youth real fit, he have plenty heart. He never stopped fighting. Down to the end, he throwing blows and Swizzle had to run and run to the corner. At one point, Swizzle had to run out of the ring. And out of tiredness and not out of like gain. I don't know if Mouttxt land a single punch in that fight, but he has heart and he has stamina. And two of them seem to respect one another. I was a little disappointed in the end though, because like I said, people were saying how much money was better than the fight and thing. And I see something going around where men was collecting their prize after the fight. And Swizzle, at this point, when the fight had just finished, they were saying it was a draw. But in the end, like, popular opinion take over, and they say Swizzle win the fight. If you know anything about boxing, you had to give Swizzle the fight, right? Because Swizzle actually land punches and thing, and me and Mouttxt land no punches at all. But I find it kind of disrespectful that they just give Swizzle $1,000 for the fight. It's the main event in the country. Nothing else that happened in the country was bigger than that over the weekend. More eyes than the press conference. They had sponsors like Cost Cutters Supermarket in El Dorado. The man had sponsors. And all they could have come up with was a grand for a man like Swizzle. After that, I was a little disappointed in that. But all in all, it was a good night. I hope they let go the two people who detained. I hope no COVID didn't spread, no Delta variant wasn't nearby, and everybody's safe. And thanks for the entertainment. Thanks for everybody involved. Thanks to Notorious Hayes for bringing the fight and everything. I was grateful for it. And Swizzle also had a voter thanks to give. All I want to hear Swizzle voter thanks?
Boom! All you don't know this is a sick man.
Right.
Tell them good night, you don't know. Big up Market International.
Right.
Big him up to he and his mother, father, everybody.
Okay.
Boom to he. And big up Coast Cutters and El Dorado.
Right.
You don't know. Big up to the whole team.
Right.
You understand? And big up to IOB now.
IOB?
MYOB, brother, the number one.
Yeah, IOB. Right?
MYOB.
MYOB. Big them up, right? Thank you for the support, people. My right hand hot to me.
Hey, Notorious is big up too.
Big up to Notorious States, right? Thank you for the support, people.
Right,
Thank you so much. This comes from the Swizzle Stick Man, but just remember, in my Swizzle Stick.
Right. Listen, it's ain't right to mock the afflicted. No, I'm not laughing. Salute to everybody involved. Salute to all the sponsors. We hope to see more of it. I hope this get to be something that more organized and everything. The curfew going back, the curfew is moving back to 10. Salute for that too one time because restrictions change. Let me go through the change restrictions one time, right? Because that might help the boxing situation. But I was going to say that I hope that this boxing end up being something that just grow and get better, and we end up getting I like the celebrity boxing part, but also get some people with some real talent and some might be raw talent, but people like box supports and them could get involved and carry them where they need to go, right? Your opinion about boxer might be different from mine. So anyway, coming from the Newsday, on to more serious news. From Sean Douglas in the Newsday. In about 2 weeks, in-house dining, casinos, gyms, bars and cinemas will be allowed to resume operations, having been designated as safe zones where everyone, customers, the business owners, and all their workers must be vaccinated and have tangible evidence to prove their vaccination status. Okay, wait, hold on. This was going good all the time. No, I mean, it's a good thing. This might be one of the ways to get people to get more vaccines, I doubt. But at least this means that I could eat in a restaurant again. I could go in a casino. I could go and take a workout in the gym. I could go in a bar and take a drink. This is sounding good. But I had to find my vaccine card. That's my only little problem I'm having right at this moment here. I had to try if I could put my hands on my vaccine card. This was revealed by the Prime Minister on Thursday during a press conference he hosted at the Diplomatic Center. Rowley also confirmed that schools will be reopened on October 4th, but only for fully vaccinated students in forms 4 to 6. Again, I'm not sure if that's the best thing to do, because if I was a student and I didn't want the vaccine, this would have music to my ears because now I can't go back to school. The opening of safe zones will be on October 11th. So middle of October or so, we still have a few weeks to wait with lockdown. He says we will provide approval for restaurants, cinemas, bars that have restaurant service. We will provide approval for restaurants, cinemas, and bars that have restaurant service, entertainment places, Napa Supper, Queen's Hall, and places like that to be utilized by the population. But the vaccinated population. Choice. If you are vaccinated, these facilities will be available to you. It will come in force from October 11th. So salute for that. We gain some kind of freedom. He reckoned that TNT now has 500,000 vaccinated individuals. Okay, I'm missing something here. 35% of 1.3 million is 500,000. My maths isn't so good. Yeah, that probably is true. All right, about 500,000 people. But all these people must show proof of their vaccination. They are going to be applicable, all other things being equal, from October 11, bars, restaurants, gyms, vaccinated persons over the age of 12. All right, cool. So we're looking good. The one thing that I find was funny here, as I scroll down through this article, there's another headline here in the Newsday that says, no alcohol. This steers, let me go back to the penalties, right? The owners of safe zones are required to make sure that all employees operating in safe zones, for example, restaurants and bars, are fully vaccinated. The owners, will be required to have proof of vaccination for all the employees operating in a safe zone. The patrons in these premises can only be fully vaccinated. All right, I see this already like many times. He said establishment owners will be legally liable for ensuring that their staff and patrons are fully vaccinated and must display a poster declaring the premise. Hey, we sweet here. No? So all right, okay. You have a poster saying that is a safe zone, right? Any owner violating this duty will be subject to a fine, which is now being considered and which could increase for repeat offenders. Now, let me tell you this. I want to know who printing these posters. I want to know if this is a standard poster that everybody going to use, or can I make my own poster and put up? I doubt that is the case, because if it's legal liability and things, that mean only coming to that standard poster. Who is printing all these posters? Hey, this country is sweet enough. But they go on to say a tiered system of penalties could consist of a suspension for each of a first and second offense, and for a third offense, reversion to only takeaway service excluding dining in. Also, in the first instance, because it's a big rollout, there will be no consumption of alcohol on premises. So the bars and restaurants, you're free to serve food, you're free to serve soft drinks, etc. But this is in the first instance because we want to get people back out. Okay. So the verdict is that they're not going to be able to serve any alcohol. You could open back your bar, but you could sell soft drink. I'm confused now. the bars, when restaurants had opened back the other day, bars were able to open or the bars had to remain closed. If a bar was selling food, like use Wings or several roti shops as examples, right? Where it is a cross between a bar and a restaurant. A place like Wings, were they open selling food all the time and soft drinks? If that's the case, nothing changed for them. Except that now you could eat your roti on premises. But you still can't sell any alcohol. So as they say, that model is already in place, and we're using that model to treat with the virus, which is now even more of a concern than what movie you watch or what drink you may drink as an underage person. This is a matter of life and death. He said, rather than being new and oppressive measures, such strictures already existed as non-sale of alcohol to minors and the age rating of movies at cinemas. I don't understand what nothing he just say. But whatever he say, we have a little bit of freedom and we have a little bit of movement. Derek Chin should be a little bit happy now. He getting his cinema to open. Look out for an article this week saying that because he can't sell alcohol and the capacity is limited and so on, he can't make no money. Look out for that. And look out for the owners of Trotters saying that you can't sell alcohol, so they're going to close again. Although they make a big deal about not opening back, but they very quietly opened back recently. So this is where we are. And we have some changes. And we also have, we're fortunate to have the curfew move from 9 to 10. I find it was a little bit of a strange one because I don't know what your experience has been. But to be honest with you, I find you don't want to be on the road between 8 and 9 o'clock. Between 8 and 9 is a piece of driving because a few times I get catch this week on the road and I was leaving a partner of mine, my pseudo amigo one, leaving by him in Marval in Mouttxt side to drive to Shogunas, and I must leave about 10 past 8. I was cutting it a little close, but Waze tell me I would have reaching about 5 to 9, right? But listen, people on the road driving, so I might be leaving there to head down there and reaching home 5 to 9, but it has some people who head in Sipario from in town. At the same time, I reach in Shogunas 5 to 9. So they blazing it, going down the highway, changing lanes indiscriminately. It's a lot of wild driving between 8 and 9. So it's a time I want to be off the road. Rumor have it that police not doing you nothing. If you're on the road between 9 and 10, they're giving you a little bit of grace period if you're still rushing home and them types of things. I don't know how true that is. But I'm feeling like moving it to 10. They're just gonna move that little deadly zone of driving there by 1 hour. We still trainees, always do things. We still go and wait for the last minute and leave at the last possible time, especially with the help of Waze and things. Now we're telling you exactly what time you go reach home. But again, they open it till 10. I didn't want to argue about that too much, and I'm glad for the street vendors too, because listen, they have a gyro man on Shogunas Main Road, right? A few places on Shogunas Main Road. Them men had to be sleeping in their carts because the hour I seen them open still, it had to be when it reached 9 o'clock. Them just close down them shutters and turn off the light and stay inside. They could not possibly be going anywhere from there. But also from the Newsday, Prime Minister said that the government is considering allowing more sporting activities to resume in the near future. Dr. Rowley made the announcement at the COVID-19 media briefing at the Diplomatic Center in St. Anne's on Thursday. Only a few sports such as tennis and golf along with exercising are being permitted at this time. But on Thursday, Rowley announced that the entertainment sector will read all that already, right? So he's saying they're considering gyms. Now, this is another thing that, again, I'm going back to my old complaint about the way this is working and how disorganized this thing seems to be, right? They're given a date quite on the 11th, but it's very, very clear that number one, they don't have the legislation in place yet to stop anybody or mandate, if you want to use that word, anybody as an employer to tell which employees they could come to work and which employees they can't come to work based on vaccination, right? I want you to also remember that while they're saying restaurants and bars have to make sure that all their staff is vaccinated, there are several other businesses that open throughout who they have made no such mandate for. For instance, in the pharmacy, the pharmacy is never closed, but nobody has ever said that everybody in the pharmacy had to be vaccinated to work. The grocery has been open throughout. Nobody's saying that the grocery employees, as a grocery owner, must make sure that everybody vaccinated. So I see that they have was it Camille Robinson Regis or whoever's the minister? Was it Labour? I see somebody today having meeting and trying to figure out legislation, because I honestly feel like they come up with this announcement about an hour before the press conference, and they get themselves between the middle of last week and the 11th of October to figure out how they're going to legislate this, because I don't know how you're going to legislate this. Some employees could go to work where people interacting and things like normal, like when you go in a pharmacy, super farm open right through. Super farm selling food and drinks. A matter of fact, super farm they're selling food, drinks, and alcoholic drinks. Is it that because you're spending, what's the idea that you're spending a shorter time in super farm than if you're going to sit down and watch a movie? Boy, that is odd and awkward. I don't know how they're going to come up with this, but they will come up with something between now and the 11th, because when he come and make the announcement, that not changing. So at least we seeing some kind of freedom, because as people open up and start to travel, right? Like I was talking to my partner Damien the other day, and he said he went away, right? For people business in the road. But he was saying there was a real strange thing coming back to Trinidad because of how free everybody was where he went. Nobody wearing no mask. It was just, like, few people wearing masks compared to those who compared to Trinidad, where everybody wearing a mask have to wear a mask by law. You're driving in a car, you know, Uber and thing, nobody ain't no mask, you know. Restaurants open, people eating, people lining by the street, you see people congregating, line up in the airport. And then all of a sudden when you land back in Trinidad now, you're in a social distance line with everybody wearing masks, you can't cough, everybody watching you. And nobody ain't studying who vaccinated and who not vaccinated in the states where he went, right? So the more you hear stories like those, the more we're starting to feel a little bit of the pressure of the lockdown, I suppose. But to be honest with you, I don't think anybody feeling the pressure of the lockdown more than a gentleman by the name of Fuad Khan.
My dear Trinis,
Yeah.
I have been in Miami since yesterday, Thursday,
Right.
the 23rd.
Right.
And I can vouch for you all, in this place that they say have so much of Delta viruses,
Right.
and it's shutting down and people dying on the streets,
Right.
and all this kind of rubbish. The place is open, it's have business, there's no mask around the place, people wear
Right.
masks where they want to.
Nice.
You could eat by the pool, you could eat in a restaurant, you
Nice.
could eat wherever you go, you could drive in a car with no mask.
So
you
nice.
could drive around the place, you could walk around the place with no mask, you could
So nice.
exercise with no mask.
So nice.
The gym is open but sanitized, and we are now being run in a fishbowl, which I would call the asylum of Trinidad and Tobago, where they create mental illnesses.
What?
My mental illness has lifted.
All right.
I am telling you all are putting up with arseness in Trinidad and Tobago.
What?
By people who are shoving arseness down your throats.
What?
And telling you to do this, and you can't drink here, you can't go here. Miami, that has more Delta than Trinidad, that fishbowl that we are living in,
Right.
run by a bunch of losers, and we are bigger losers for putting them there.
Right.
I want to blame the person who strategy has them there.
What?
And I am telling you, Miami is a way out. All you come to Miami, get rid of the mental asylum,
Right.
and mental fatigue
Right.
that you all are doing. You can drink outside, you could drink wherever you want.
Right.
You're in a restaurant, you
Right.
could drive, but yet they have Delta here. People dying and they're dying and they're dying and they're dying. That is the kind of rubbish and arsness that those people at the Ministry of Health and people in the conferences are selling you all. It's not happening here. It's not. For God's sakes, push back and tell these idiots
Oh, God.
to stop telling you cannot drink alcohol in a restaurant or in a bar and you have to walk in mask up your ass.
Oh, God.
Right through. And I'm damn fed up, and it's time we fight back.
Only somebody send Fuad a hand, man. Fuad need a help, man. Fuad ain't going. So listen, this man was the Minister of Health, you know. He was the Minister of Health? I think so, yeah. Clearly Fuad I tell you, people having a rough time, you know. The man say his mental health is lifted. You know, he mean the mental stress. He having no more stress, man. Fuad basically tell everybody come Miami, you know. You see how these people is be talking, and like if they say hubris sets in sooner rather than later. That's what they say. Your solution is that come up Miami and listen. He doing this on the balcony of a hotel where he's seeing the beach behind him, nice blue waters and things. I don't know how out of touch some people could be now, but I know that while his the the way he put together the message might not be the greatest, especially for a man who was who had political office before and may well seek political office again. Might be the best way to put your point across. But a lot of people feeling that way. And I'm worried about that, to be honest. Because after, I keep talking about what I saw in Jamaica, what I saw in France, what I saw in Canada, in several countries where people seeing this system of lockdowns and coming out of lockdowns, and then coupled with any talk about mandatory vaccines, people seeing it as a threat to the democracy, a threat to the freedom and all these things. And then what's going to happen is people going to come out and plan and organize marches. And when you see people like Fuad Khan come on, it's a lot louder than any dog whistle, where he basically telling you stand up for your rights and don't take that and all, you know what I mean? That is the type of thing where we could lead to problems that just deepen the state that we're in and make this last long. I believe so. Because when people come out and protest in large numbers and the numbers start going up, it's clear that the people who are in charge of this country, they see lockdowns as one of the best measures to combat COVID. And the talk going around is because we still have 100 and something every single day. And a lot of the days, unfortunately, we still have 9 and 10 people dying and that kind of thing. You're still hearing that like every single day, making you wonder like how much people are really in Trinidad. It's like every day. But I think the philosophy is that if they open up and they just let us live, we'll see much more than 100 and something and much more than the single digit or very low double digit deaths every day. So I just hoping that we do come to that and we as people who have voices be a lot more responsible with the way we use our voices. Because when you say things like, I mean, I'm laughing at it and saying it because it's funny. Almost everything Fuad can say is funny these days. He don't care. Because he was on the radio, morning radio last week, Fuad Khan, everybody who talking about the Nicki Minaj thing said, well, the man said testicles swell, and hey, Fuad Khan just come on, nah, that don't cause ball swelling. And I was like, what's going on? You don't care again. But you could see why some people don't care, right? Because a lot of people, them bound to care. They could easily run away to high-end resorts in Miami and chill, while other people had to stay here and only be entertained by a man like Swizzle and Mouttxt. But salute. I'm glad that the place opening back a little more. I understand Fuad Khan's sentiment and all that, but we're looking like we're seeing some benefit of opening back. One of the things that I see that we're doing better at policing ourselves, where if places were to open back and mean, I suppose, like you could eat street food, like doubles on the spot and them kind of thing again, or eat in restaurants, I think that the restaurant owners by default will do the right thing because they don't want to go through no period of shutdown again. More and more you're finding that restaurants now making it little by little again, little messages like, hey, this restaurant closed down, this place not there again. I don't know how the people making out in the mall food court, but I went through Gulf City food court the other day and it wasn't looking the greatest. It was looking a little sparse. So we looking forward to the 11th. I will keep updating as we go along because by the time we come back here next week, we probably have some kind of update on the legislation or whatever they put in place to make sure that people vaccinated. And listen, guaranteed the pushback for that is on the way. From the time they make that legislation, a certain sector in society, the people who not on the vaccine and not on the mandatory vaccine, I not on the mandatory vaccine thing either, but you're going to see a certain part of the society rise up and start to plan march and all these different things, and the conversation going to be built around oppression. So until then, we'll come back to that when that time comes, but the police are their work cut out. Now, before we get into the police, we had to talk about these police, right? And you know your boy is frightened. Too much illegal letter and who carrying who to court and then who dismiss the matter and they decide to settle but they're still going to court and thing. Before I get into that, let me just get Stalin to cool my head a little bit now. want to hear that same song again. If I hear the same song, I might go insane.
Because it's a small the same thing I hear it.
Yes.
Like how it have a
Better day coming.
But anyhow that I look around, I see the whole world heading for destruction. People committing crimes and for their escape. They're doing all that for the children's sake.
Better days are coming.
The lion and the lion and the lion and the lion. Because we dying and we dying and we dying and we dying.
What can't say so, you know?
Better days are coming. There you go. And wait, man. Bus workers on strike, all workers down too. So your children can get bus to go to school. The electric people cannot agree. So no like for your child to cram for GC. Because two big man can sit down like man and try to resolve a situation. The power hungry look they carrying on and using the little children as born.
Wait, sorry, eh? But you hear what he said, eh? The man said two big men carrying on and they can't sit down and have a conversation. It sounds so familiar to what we had to talk about.
The lion and the lion and the lion and the lion. Because I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm looking and I'm waiting. Better days are coming. Get the boots down and wait, man. It's coming. Better days. $6 million for schools and 90 for bombs. 8 million for house and 60 for guns. That is the type of budget we're making. To get ready for this better day, we're coming. 18-year-old joining up military to kill 18-year-old that they never see. That is the type of preparation it takes to live in this beautiful promised land. Better days are coming. The bombing and the bombing and the shooting and the lying. Better days are coming. Because I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm waiting and I'm looking. Better days are coming. Get your bus back and wait and wait.
Listen, when a man singing them kind of songs, you have to know he's a man who born on a significant day in Trinidad history. 24th of September, they say Black Stallion, born 24th of September 41 in San Fernando, Trinidad and Tobago, is a leading calypsonian. Began singing in 1959 but did not join a calypso tent until 62 when he joined the Southern Brigade. In 67, he joined Kitchener's Calypso Review tent and managed to place in that year's Calypso Monarch competition. He went on to win the competition for the first time in 79 and then won it again in 85, 87, 91 and 95. A happy birthday to a great man. But let me get into the other men now because I like the line in the song. You know, he say, two big men can sit down and have a conversation. I want you to listen to this, right? Listen to this with them lyrics in mind.
To make unauthorized comments and comments that are totally inaccurate. The Minister of National Security, even a child, I will use his words in Parliament, even a child will understand this better than he can. It's for his information and for the country. I am still the acting commissioner of police. I was appointed by the Police Service Commission, not the minister. He has no authority. He has no say. I don't know why he's getting his mouth in this. The Police Service Commission appointed me to act as the Commissioner of Police with effect from the 17th of August until a substantive position is filled, whoever that may be. Until then, I hold that position. When I went on leave,
Right.
I was still the acting commissioner of police, but I went on leave and Mr. Jacob acted in my absence.
Right.
It is no different, gentlemen. So when Stephen Williams was acting commissioner of police for 6 years and he will go Australia for a month or go wherever, somebody will act in his absence, but he was still the acting commissioner of police because that is what was given to him by the Police Service Commission.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still the acting commissioner of police in the same way when I went on leave from the 6th to the 20th of September.
Right.
After the 20th of September, I am still the acting commissioner of police who is on leave. So in total contrast to the misguided, inaccurate, and false statements by the Minister of National Security, I am not a civilian, and he needs to stay in his crease and stick to what he may be good at, whatever that may be.
Now, Fitzgerald Hines, Minister of National Security, right? Fitzgerald Hines. It was always coming. He came out and said, so I don't know if I'll up to date on this issue, but Gary Griffith's term comes to an end. It has our election to see who is the new commissioner of police. I think we talked about that a few times when he was in campaign mode and all that. And apparently, the Police Service Commission is the one who's supposed to be managing this process in terms of how we transition from one to the next. What one man's supposed to do when his term comes to an end, all the way through appointing a new person supposed to be handled by the PSC. Gary Griffith gets sent on leave by the PSC. It looking like if that is not a legal order to send him on leave or suspend him or whatsoever it is. Boy, listen, and he had to go on vacation. The man said he coming back from vacation. Fitzgerald said, keep yourself home. Don't come back nowhere. And he released this statement. Well, the statement was released. The statement was all over social media. I don't know. Well, he had to leak it. It had to come from somewhere. And this is how he decided to address the thing. Now, again, if he had to ask me about commissioners of police, I could get fooled with old talk easy, you know. You see, once you're talking and think about the job that is, it's easy to look like you're doing more than somebody else who was there who didn't talk much, like Stephen Williams, right? Because crime was going up under both men. The murder rate going up. Crime in Trinidad is a problem overall. I'm not feeling any safer under Gary Griffith than I felt under Stephen Williams. But I will say that Gary, much more vocal, and he seems to be more present on the job than anything. And easy to trick. So if I had a vote, he would have get my vote. But let me tell you where he go lost my vote. You see, the same thing I was saying about Fuad Khan and your method of delivery, like how you want to talk to and about people. I don't like that. I listen, I like joke more than the other man. And every week I try to find something funny to come here and talk about rather than talk about these issues. I like that, but what I don't like is people who downright disrespectful, who like to put other people down and shine people up. I don't do it. I don't like doing it. I just feel uncomfortable. And I don't like to be around people who do that either. Who always trying to disrespect somebody or call somebody this and that. I don't like it. And Gary Griffith is just one of them people. It's like, why you have a minister of national security? You in charge of police in the country. And one of the first statements, I'll never forget, one of the first things he had said just after he was appointed or just before, when it was announced that he was going to be police commissioner, he said all these roaches who come in out the hole and this and that. And when you hear him refer to people like that, and people who are upset about the roaches statement and thing, and I remember hearing him talking about the most disrespectful people is be the ones to talk about respect. Right? No, I would think that I agree with him. That's the thing about being in Trinidad. Some of the most disrespectful people, once you diss them is get hot. You know what I mean? They take disrespect and they like to talk about respect and things, but they're very disrespectful. I agree with them there 100%. But what I find strange and what I find out of place is that if you trying to curb the crime situation in this country and show people how to be respectful, how you could make statements like these that just blatantly disrespectful. They have 100 different ways you could have come out and say what you said there. They have 100 different mediums that you could have choose to come out and say what you say there, rather than being disrespectful to a minister. Well, go and do what you're good at, and he out of his place to think. How is that something to talk about in the public? I'm not even telling you don't say that, but you two only know one another. You could go and call Fitzgerald, you could pull up by his house, all his partner, all his friends as far as I'm concerned. Because when things going smooth, all they laughing and talking and drinking, nobody never invite me for a drink yet. Like, go talk to him. All they have that, cuss out one another behind the scenes. But this is just indicative of how he is. And this is why I get harassed to talk about him here, because he's the kind of guy who seems to have a lot of time to respond to the average Joe on Facebook people who mean him responding to, when you come at me with thing on Facebook, I don't respond to them thing because number one, I'm not responding to anybody who have less information than me about a situation. I also not having a public debate with anybody on any contentious issue. Most of the time, if you say something like that, I go message you and say, nah, that is not what I mean, that is not where I was coming from, da 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 da. And if it get disrespectful behind the scenes too, that is it, me and you good, that is it. We don't have to have that discussion at all. It really unnecessary. But it's just who he is. He like these public battles. He like this kind of, you know what I mean? You call a press conference. That was the other thing that was, he say that they're going to have a joint press conference between he and McDonald Jacob. I come here and ask who's McDonald Jacob, because I get to find out the hard way. From the news day, Acting Commissioner of Police McDonald Jacob has called off a press conference which was scheduled to be held at noon on Saturday at the police admin building in Port of Spain, according to a media release from the police service. Now, the lawfully or not, the police service commissioner at that point in time had said, brother, you're on leave, you're suspended, whatever the thing was. The minister saying, listen, you're a civilian, you don't have no power or nothing. But somehow you were able to put out a press release on the police service behalf, or the police service put out a press release at the time saying they're going to be a joint media conference between McDonald Jacob and Gary Griffith. So this is McDonald Jacob responding to that. As I say in the article, on Friday, a release advised media of a press conference to be attended by Mr. Gary Griffith and Mr. McDonald Jacob. Jacob, in a telephone interview with TV6, said that he did not authorize that release and found the omission of his rank as acting COP was disrespectful to the office of the Commissioner of Police. Griffith, in a separate statement on Saturday, said even though he had the permission of the Police Service Commission Chairman Bliss Sipasad, who we'll get to eventually, because now she's the whole PSC. But she had permission from Bliss Sipasad to host the press conference. He would respect the decision of Jacob, thank God. This morning I was informed by the Acting Commissioner of Police, Mr. McDonald Jacob, that he will not be approving the news conference at the police admin building. My training dictates that I respect his decision as he currently sits in the chair whilst I'm on leave. Griffith provided a copy of the email sent by Sipasad to Jacob on Friday, which asked Jacob to make the necessary arrangements for the press conference and for Jacob to also attend. According to the email, Sipasad asked Jacob to contact Griffith to ensure the necessary arrangements. Listen, I don't know enough about it, right? So I don't want to talk about it too much. But these things sounding real improper. Like why is the Police Service Commission getting involved directly in a press conference being called by an acting commissioner? I couldn't tell you. But the Police Service Commission, what happened after this? Anything happened in between there? Oh no, Gary Griffith basically said he's going to carry everybody to court and sue them because they're trying to suspend him and all that. And within a couple of days, they said that it was settled and that was the end of that. But it seems as though that settlement up in the air now. From CNC3, this is on the 27th of September, right? Even with a settlement in place between Acting Commissioner Gary Griffith and the Police Service Commission, Griffith has not yet decided to discontinue his lawsuit against the Commission over its decision to suspend him pending the outcome of an investigation into the issuing of FULs. This was revealed as the lawsuit came up for hearing by Justice Nadia Kangaloo in a short while ago. So, over the weekend, they had said that this issue was settled and everybody good and everybody go and move on, and the PSC has some work to do. But this matter was settled. But it seems as though the matter going on, I don't know, he hasn't fully removed the idea of a lawsuit. It's still up in the air, so we got to come back to that. But the Guardian reports that, this is by Gail Alexander in the Guardian, the headline says, Bliss is a lone PSC member as Kawal Singh set to walk. The first thing we see is Courtney McNish walk out, right? He say he done. But the Police Service Commission will be on his last leg today, literally. The second to last remaining PSC member, Roger Kawal Singh, is resigning after the commission collapsed last Saturday with the resignation of a second member, Dr. Susan Craig James. This was confirmed by Guardian last Saturday and again yesterday. After Kawal Singh's resignation letter, reaches the president this morning. It leaves the embattled chairman, Bliss C. Prasad, alone in the PSC. You know what I mean? Somebody had a holy faith, man. Holy faith, Bliss. Hold on the fort, you know what I mean? Don't let them move you. Hold the fort. C. Prasad yesterday didn't respond to Guardian media queries on whether she too will resign. We'll see. But the commission basically defunct there already. Once it come down to two of them alone, apparently they don't have a quorum. They can't vote on nothing. No change can be made or anything. The last issue was the PSC rescinding its letter for Acting Police Commissioner Gary Griffith to take administrative leave. Griffith remains on leave until the investigation is done, and so on and so on. But we had seen Courtney McNish being the first person to walk out. Then Miss Craig James had left. Then Kawal Singh is the last man to go now, and Bliss C. Prasad is there on her own. So I had said some weeks ago here that I feel that every effort is being made to ensure that Gary Griffith remains the commissioner. Unfortunately, I don't know much of the other candidates. I don't know much about them then. So I don't know if there's anything better coming when we're looking at Gary Griffith. Anything better to succeed Gary Griffith or coming after. I ain't sure what's the situation. What I would love is for if Gary Griffith go back there, so just forget, maybe you should have named this episode Petty and not last week. Because the level of pettiness is beyond me. Like, brother, you grown, you're a big children, your son is a big man playing for the national team, kind of. You pass a certain stage in life, you still want to fight people on Facebook. And it's get very dangerous now where it's gone beyond tit for tat on Facebook in the comments, which is done too much already for a police commissioner, to allegedly sending people to investigate people based on being against you online. That's dangerous territory. I talk about it all the time, where Patrick Manning, we easily one of the best prime ministers we ever had. But I remember him going to Boom Champions. Do you remember that? See, he was by the barber shop and he was saying them talking about him and things. So he went in his nice, normal way to clarify some issues, like they was talking about things and might not have been the best informed when they was talking about it. All that is well and good. But as a prime minister, when you show up in a radio station, an urban radio station, who not dealing with news or that kind of thing, who talking, that's what they're doing for a living. When you show up there personally, unannounced and unscheduled, that's dangerous territory. That's deep water. That's not something you want to encourage. Keep in mind that the media is an important part of democracy in any country. And I want to add and tack on to that. Maybe just a little 10% tack on, right? But if the media is so important to the democracy in our country, I want to add that social media is also an important part of the democracy in our country. The idea that wherever you say on social media, a police commissioner could be responding to you on your wall or on the police commissioner wall, which is not his. That is not Gary Griffith. That is the police commissioner wall. Or in your DMs, or going as far as to send somebody home by you. Something very wrong with that. That is not something we had to take that's not something we should take lightly at all. But we will continue to watch that story and monitor it as it develops, because it's dirty all wrong. When I say dirty, it's messy. It's messy between Gary Griffith and Fitzgerald Hines. It's messy between McDonald Jacob and Gary Griffith. It's messy between what used to be the Police Service Commission. Because they clearly, for them, people was not getting along. That is clear. It does seem as though the other three was on the same page in terms of the suspension and all that, which is clear by the resignation. And I'm sure we'll hear more from them over the next week. But are these the reasons why we end up with an acting commissioner of police for 6 years just the other day and couldn't get nobody appointed? And are we in a time like this where we have a pandemic, we have people who upset because they locked down, upset because they had to get vaccines and it's mandatory and that kind of thing, and more, I want to say, like, threats of protest action. We leave it at that, right? The protest action on people rising up or whatever you want to call it. Is it that we're going to stick now with our next acting police commissioner for the near future? We will see. We keep our eye on it, right? Given that Stalin birthday, one of the best ways to come out of hard topics is to just take in something from Stalin, you know what I mean? is the easy way out. Yeah, brass boy?
Come with it, come with it. Come with it, man. Last year I sing and say I'm taking my wife to party.
Yes.
People vex like hell cause I say my wife and not their beauty. So the next weekend on the papers them boys start writing. Yes, they're trying to tell the world it's smart that the black man singing. So before them reporters put my career in more jeopardy. And not me to sing nothing again about party. But when the fans and them around the world listen to what I had to say, anyway that I go, anyway that I pass, they keep balling out. No way, no, this party can't done. Black man, your fans having fun. Black man, German, another one. This party can't done, this party can't done. Come with it, your fans want to party. Come with it, jam a party song. Come with it, we just want to roll back all night long. Come with it, your fans want to shake up. Come with it, build my party song. Come with it, it's you make we boogie woogie all year round. My fans and them they turn and say that it's joke I'm making. They say we love your jam, so just keep on jamming. Don't stop, black man, yes we love your music.
Yes.
Don't let no reporter man come in here now and stop it. Yes, you sing and try to bring the whole Caribbean together. Yes, you try and try to bring a better life for the elder. Yes, you sing and try to make so much other people dream come true. It's time that you realize that party people is people too. So no, this party can't done. Black man, your fans having fun. Black man, German, another one. This party can't done, this party can't done. Come with it, your fans want to shake up. Come with it, build more party song. Come with it, if you make me party hardy all night long. Come with it, your fans want to shake up. Come with it, jam more party song. Come with it, it's you make me boogie woogie all year round. I tell my fans, afraid the reporter.
Yes.
Anytime they want them reporter could put your career in danger. So before them fellas put their pen and paper against me. Yes, I'm making sure I only sing in politics and history. But my fans and them who does buy my record the world all over. Tell me Stalin it this time me forget the foolish reporter. If they don't know the difference in social commentary and party, then it's time that you start writing for party people exclusively. No, this party can't done. Black man, your fans having fun. Black man, German, another one. This party can't done, this party can't done. Come with it, your fans want to shake up. Come with it, film a party song. Come with it, it's to make we party hardy all night long. Come with it, we just want to shake. Come with it, we want party song. Come with it, we just want to boogie woogie all year round.
Come with it. Come with it. Come with it. Hey, I see a strange article, right? We nearly done it again out here just now, but I see a strange article before I play my favorite Stalin and these things to leave you with, right? I just want people to wise up because see the news, they report something here. It's a penal man sues woman after paying child support for child that isn't his. You know, I was talking about this just last week and thing. They was talking about horn. I can't remember what episode we was talking about this. I was telling you, the man is go through plenty more of this than we admitted. Because nobody doesn't know what happening behind closed doors when it comes to man. But alright, A 47-year-old penal man has initiated legal action against a woman after he reportedly paid $18,000 in child maintenance for a child that he did not father. Now, there's something that I always wonder about, right? If you, as a man, now we talk to the man for a minute. Let's say that you was to find out a child wasn't yours, right? That is not a nice thing. Nobody don't want to go through nothing like that, right? I wouldn't wish that on nobody. But you don't give a certain amount of love to that child. And you bring up that child, you hug up and you kiss up that man child and thing. And you put money, like what we would do. You see about the child, you pay for this, that, milk and pampers and music. If the child big, you pay for university. At what stage you could really turn your back and you don't love the child already? At what stage you could say, you want back your money? Now, vengeance is a hell of a thing. I remember my argument about vengeance versus justice last time, right? And vengeance can make you want back your money and thing, but what you go do? You go take back the love you get at a child as a child, the child innocent. So this man suing this woman, so it make me wonder, because I always used to tell myself, if that was to happen to me, and I ain't so sure that it didn't happen, but if that was to happen to me, I ain't going through all that, man. I will vex, I will think, I will feel shame or whatever. But I seen more that child, I done seen more the child already. I doing my best for that child. If the child father come back and he's seen, well, I play a stepdaddy role now. You know what I mean? Don't call me daddy, don't want call my uncle now. And I just do that. You have to swallow your pride and thing as a man sometimes, you know. But when I see this thing now, he carrying this woman to court for $18,000. You done spend the $18,000 on the child already. Like, why would you carry that woman? What benefit it have now? So, well, I guess the benefit is to get back your 18 grand. I don't know how all I feel about this boy, but I don't like things like this. I find that money done dead already. You don't spend that. He said he give the woman $9,000 twice. Now, what I would have been looking for, I might not want back my $9,000 twice, but I would have been looking for value for my $9,000. If you catch where I'm coming from, I would be looking for value. I don't know how much value he get, but it didn't look like he get much value if he want back the whole 18. You know what I mean? I working it out, you know. I say, well, if I count as 300, I think, you know what I mean? 300 divided 18,000. I like, you know, you're owing me, but as the Calypsonians say, I pong your flesh for security. But so I didn't agree with this man suing this woman to take back 18,000. I mean, you done find out the child is not your fault. Worst case scenario, you could just leave, but you could see about the child and things still, man. I mean, I find it was bad. But he went on to say, Newsday understand that the man from Mouttxt Trace, Penal Rock Road, filed a petty civil action in the Superior Magistrate Court asking for a refund. Let me not laugh, right? Petty civil claims are for sums that are under 50,000 and can be heard in a magistrate court. Now, I don't want to laugh and think too much, right? But again, fellas, let me talk. Let me talk to a little direct, right? All the way before we married and we settle down and thing, you spend money on woman, money you spend on woman. But I feel it's the embarrassment of having a child and she tell you the child is yours. Sometimes the embarrassment getting in the way, you know. But you know what, rob, we get robbed. Let me talk plain. We get robbed. We get all kind of robbed. If you live this life, right? And you ain't pay for hair, makeup, or nails. Or you never pay no first or no last month deposit. Or you never, you know what women like to do too? They're thinking on a month and thing and they just want to borrow a 1,500. You're not seeing back a cent out of that. Add up all the time you do that and tell me if it add up to more than 18,000. But if you're a smart fella and thing and anything, you get back your value, you get back more than your money's worth in them situation. I have a partner named Harold up in the gym. Salute my guy Harold from Long Circular Mall Gym. Harold used to tell me when a woman asks you to borrow money, if she come and she asks you for 5,000, and Harold voice deeper, Harold say, money between friends is mash up relationships. He says, so I will not lend you 5,000, I'm going to give you 2,500. Harold say he max is half of whatever you ask for. If things ain't working out too good between me and you, or if he ain't like you so much, he going down from there. But half of whatever you ask for is what he But all of we have a little strategy, but if we being honest, like, collectively we spend more than that. So if you spend that 18,000, there's a child involved. I can't understand this thing where you want to sue the woman to give back that 18,000. You're taking the food back out the child mouth, man. They said the man paid 2 lump sums of 9,000 from his bank account to the boy who was born last year, June. There's a 1-year-old child. You take back a 18 grand from a 1-year-old child? to pay 2 lump sums of 9,000 from his bank account to the boy who was born last June, but became suspicious when he realized the child didn't resemble him. Now, if we're being honest, right? You didn't have a time you find your child didn't resemble you. Hey, I'm only talking to men, eh? Women only could tune back in a little while, right? When you go back to Stalin. But it didn't have a time you find your child in resemble. I remember I went to the hospital. When I first my son, I can't say this because he go hear this. But let me just say he had a lot of very straight hair. And resemble a friend of mine named Brian. A lot. But that straight hair went out the door fast. Me and they switch him at birds or what it is. Let me just say something before this man grew up with a complex. Let me just read this article. He gave him 9,000, but he became suspicious when the child didn't resemble him. He later acquired a copy of the child's birth certificate and realized he was not listed as the boy's. But I take back everything I say. I take it back. Everything I say, forget that. He later acquired a copy of the child's birth certificate and realized he was not listed as the boy's biological father. Well, this one wicked. This is a wicked woman. You see, I was in favor, I was backing women in this situation, and I say, but the man wicked to take back 18,000. But what kind of wicked woman? I thought it was a DNA test, to be honest. I thought it's a DNA test he get, and he realized like the child is not his own. This woman telling the man is his child, and she didn't put the man name on the birth paper. You could have solved the simplest of problems. You put next man name on the birth paper. What the hell is going on in these streets? I can't believe what I just read. I swear that this was a DNA test. And this man asking back for 18 because any man worth his salt would have just leave you with a 18 and bussy kite. Or would have still try and maintain a relationship with the child. But the child is only one. So I ain't even trying to come wrong you if you put me through this. But I'm vexed in real life now. I'm upset. With this, next time this fella go into court, I go into. I don't like this. I don't like this. I wonder what's the woman age. He's 47. I could bet my life is a young woman. This man go and get his foot tie up and she have a next man name on the birth certificate. Hey, let me get back to playing Stalin. You see why I was planning to just come here and celebrate the black man birthday. I don't know why I went and read that article for. Oh, let me get back to Stalin, right? I'm going to play one of my favorites. And then I'm going to play one of the favorites. So this one is one of my favorites. Woo!
1983, my fans beg for a favor. I decide to please them, so I write the soca. Last year they come back with a different story. They said they want something smutty about Gina Dorothy. Now on your fans, you know your future depend. So I sit down to write this motto only to please them. But as I take up my pen and my piece of paper and I write out the first verse, listen what I remember.
This song familiar?
That oil money come and oil money go, and poor people remain on the pavement and ghetto. When Mr. Divider start to divide the bread equally, yes, I'm going and finish the whole damn Calypso Dorothy. Oh, I jam she and she jam me.
Stalin like Jambo.
Oh, we back and we roll back. But once my people keep fighting for equal share the cake, wait, Dorothy, wait.
Listen, I have this song as one of the best written calypsos ever. While you're listening to what the man's saying, listen to the lyrics and listen. One of the best putting together of a story I've ever heard, musically or otherwise.
I take up the challenge just to prove to the lot. I decide to show them I, Stalin, could write a smut about this Dorothy woman who come down to the island and what happened with Bachi when we come out the steel band. Look, I done hire to girl to put on some short thing. Want to come on stage and show how Dorothy moving. But it's a wrong thing I'm doing. So when I strike up the first note, suppose Jaja punish me with a stroke in my one throat. Because the Ku Klux Klan office still Alabama Palma. And in Brixton, England, my people still under pressure. Anytime I see that South Africans are free, look, I'm going and finish the whole damn Calypso Authority. Our Chamshi, anti-Jamley, and we back, and we roll back. But once my people struggling with so much children life at stake, wait, Dorothy, wait, Dorothy, wait. Pass into London, and you're sure to hear it. They just call Calypso music, rum music. They say all entertainer, so they're using the culture and just to help the people plan a better future.
Yes.
In this world today of nuclear revolution, the Calypso man still singing about rum and woman. So I'm just making sure that when they run in the big mouth,
It's a black scarlet music that they're talking about.
because them politicians still can't form a federation. So much meat in the holding, Caribbean people still suffering. Anytime I see a true Caribbean unity, yes, I'm going and finish the whole damn Calypso Authority. Our Jamshi, anti-jam me, and we back, and we roll back. But once my people keep fighting for equal share the cake, wait, Dorothy, wait, Dorothy, wait. For verse and chorus,
Yes.
it's just too much of lyrics to sit down and write smut in this moment of crisis. My head saying yes, but my heart saying no, and I just follow my heart when it comes to writing Kaiso. Now to all my fans who want smut, I'm very sorry, but my pleasure does always come second to my duty. And my duty is to make sure that my people life happy.
Yes.
And anytime that thing happens,
All of we go jam down Dorothy.
because so much of famine in Ethiopia, assassination as they going on in India. Anytime we don't have to live with these frightful things around we, yes, I'm going and finish the whole damn Calypso Authority. Our Jamshi, and she jammed it, and we back, and we roll back. But once my people keep fighting with so much children life at stake,
Wait, Dorothy, wait, Dorothy, wait.
wait, man.
Big song. Lyrics. You can't beat them in storytelling, right? Now, as I mentioned storytelling, I remember one thing. I usually used to end these episodes by talking a little bit more about entertainment, right? Because it used to be heavy on the politics. And I say, boy, I can't make it a whole political podcast. I had to talk about some entertainment and some light things where we could just enjoy ourselves and rock back and thing. And this episode, thanks to man like Gary Griffith and McDonald Jacob and the likes, it turned out to be one of them heavy political episodes. They had to cover it, right? Whatever happened a week ago, always cover that, right? But because of that, I decided that I'm going to end the way we used to end, with some entertainment type things, right? And I go on with my fast self for podcast purposes and put on a show on Netflix called Squid Games. Now, the thing trending as number one in Trinidad and Tobago, right? So I don't know if all you see Squid Games already, or if all you bypass it and all you watch it, and I don't know for the people who live in abroad if all you seeing that Squid Games thing, because it seemed to be popular in Trinidad. I'm not sure if all you seeing that. But I want to tell you this. I blind in one eye, right? Functionally, remember the woman who said she was legally blind? I legally blind in one eye and I illegally blind in the next one. So I have on contacts at all times. They're supposed to be daily, you know. You're supposed to take them off every day, but I just leave them on for like 3-4 weeks at a time. Don't tell the people in Ferreras I say so, right? But listen, I don't like to watch shows with subtitles. The best series I ever watched might have been Narcos. And every time they say something, I just have to pause to read the subtitle because I can't read so fast and I can't read so well. Well, you know, I'm so good with the reading. And my TV is too big, so the subtitle's small. So I just have to pause every time to catch up with the subtitles, right? Money Heist was another series like that. I had to pause every single minute in Money Heist just to keep up with the story because I can't read too fast. And once I see a show with subtitles, I done at that. I can't get too deep into it because it started to frustrate me. But you see that show they call Squid Games? The show is a Korean show. A slight spoiler alert, right? I'm not going to spoil anything in the show for you, right? I just want you to watch that show for me. Because Squid Games is on a different level. Like, who the hell come up with this? It have a Money Heist kind of vibe because everybody in a red suit. It have a kind of Hunger Games kind of vibe. Lord, me listen, me don't want to sell out the show, you know, but do yourself a favor and watch that Squid Games. It's Korean, so I don't know if I always watch like plenty of people just watch a lot of foreign TV. I don't watch much of it at all. When I say foreign, non-American, then I'm gonna put it that way. And I don't watch a lot of them things. And I want to say, is either you read the subtitles on the show in Korean or you go in Netflix settings and you change it to English. But just understand that the English voiceover, it don't always be easy to watch because, you know, the words and the mouth is be going out of time. And I don't know if it's because it's Korean, the accent and thing that they use for the English voice, it making it sound jokey, to put it like that. It's a kind of jokey way they do anything. But let me tell you something, eh? And one more little caveat, one more little warning. The first 15-20 minutes boring, it not looking like this thing going nowhere. But just rally through. Take my stupid advice. The premise of this show is ridiculous. The build-up to it ridiculous. The voiceover is ridiculous. The dialogue is trash. But listen, just rally through that first 20 minutes, half hour, whatever it is. Because when the first thing happened in the show, and you have no mistake in what happened, your jaw going to hit the ground when the first thing happened. And after that, you're probably not going to be able to stop watching that thing. The only issue I had with it is that it's 9 episodes, and now we had to wait. I see billions start back. I'm waiting for that to pile up on my little bit because I find like when I watch one episode or something, I always be depressed. I'd rather watch out everything. But listen, do yourself a favor and watch Squid Games. Because this is the only episode that I'm probably not going to have no spoiler alerts. But from next week, I'm probably going to come and talk about the whole thing. Because this is next level. I don't know why this is so good. I feel I want to try and write a series. All I feel. We should do a Trinidadian series now. If these Koreans could come up with this, we could come up with something Trini. Because they take a part of what is their culture and their childhood. And some of it is familiar to us in terms of the Korean childhood and culture. Who would have thought? But some of it real familiar to us. But we must be able to do something with our culture and our childhood to make it into some kind of Netflix series. All for who's the writers who listening? Where the writers at? We had to do something. But just do yourself a favor and take in Squid Games. I'm not going to go no further because I don't want to sell out nothing. But I can't promise you that I wouldn't do that next week. So before we get out of here, I want to leave you with the song that I feel. No, I don't want to say this like I watch every Calypso monarch they ever had, right? So hear my words carefully. What would have been the best Calypso monarch performance I ever see in terms of how that man had this crowd rocking with this song? And I played one here a couple of weeks ago with Crocro with Common Entrance, because that would be a big performance for Calypso monarch. I remember a few more, like some more recent ones would be when Crazy sing In Time to Come. It had some songs that just move everybody when they sing them. But this one is at the top of the list for me. I know it have other songs out there that are big. I would love to hear all your own. But you see this one here, this one is mine.
Jano. wait and I'm waiting. Because I'm begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If some sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Peter take trip, take rally, but leave Victoria for me. Peter I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini he can't get away. Why?
This is my time for coming.
I'm running. Blazing.
This is your time for running.
I'm running.
Keep the fire coming.
Peter, you don't know the pressure that I undergo from these madman and woman. A fully full weight on their hand. They may they oppress law. They never care about the poor. Peter, these people had a day. Well, now it's time for Stalin to play. Peter, wait, I said Peter, wait. Peter, look, Ian Smith by the gate. Peter, I don't want you to make fuss. Remember, I want Christopher Columbus. Peter, look, the English woman who in South Africa refused to put sanctions. Peter, I just don't care what you do, but Reagan going in the fire too. Why?
This is my time for money. Peter, keep the fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for money.
I'm running.
Peter, keep the fire coming.
Hit me now. Peter, don't grudge me.
Yes?
Your hand done full already. You don't deal with the Führer. Go ahead and take Foster. But that woman Mary, remember that's my baby. So much confusion that she make. You got to give Black Stalin a break. Peter, wait, I say Peter, wait. Peter, look, voter reach by the gate. With voter, I don't want you to waste time. Remember, we still have Morgan behind. Peter, look, the English woman who sent foreign troops in Africa land. Peter, I just don't care what you say. The Ku Klux Klan man can't get away. Why?
This is my time for money. Peter, keep the fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for money.
I'm running.
Peter, keep the fire coming.
Hit me. Burn them, boy. Coming. We burning.
So yeah, it's a happy birthday and salute to the black man, 80 years old this week, right? On the 24th of September. So just to run through before we go, his Calypso Monarchs was 79 with Caribbean Man and Play 1 for Winston Spring. He came back again in 85 with Ism Schism and Wait Dorothy Wait. We played that. 87, Mr. Panmaker and Bundem, which is just even Panmaker is a big song. And then he come in 91, Black Man Feeling to Party and Look on the Bright Side. And then wrap them up. And listen, Look on the Bright Side is a nice calypso too in a way. And I sing in this, I never really realized that Black Man Feeling to Party was in the 90s. If you had asked me that, I would have told you that was in the 80s too. That's surprising. I didn't know that at all. No, I was going to say that's more modern, but that's showing my age when I say that. But I didn't realize Black Man Feeling to Party was as late as 91. But the last one he won was in 95, which was In Time and tribute to Sundar Popo. Sundar way my song. Way my song. And Stalin, one of the greats in Calypso history. And as much as we celebrate and we spend the time and we do the memorial type episode, we had to do the episodes with man alive and well, yes, and kicking. So salute to him. And maybe one day we are talking about the relationship between Stalin and Roy Cape. That two of them talk about so much. I mean, yeah, Roy Cape appreciation episode too, you know. If you don't know Roy Cape, just keep tuning in. You'll find out more about him, right? So until next week, everybody stay safe. The Doc Parsram say we had community spread a Delta variant now. So whether you're for vaccine, you're against vaccine, whatever you're for, this is time to get low and stay safe and batten down the hatches and make sure that everybody good, right? I will talk to you all next week. Bye.